Hi everyone. So welcome to this evening's webinar about break free and in the UK, what's going on. My name is Danny. I work for 350.org in the UK and a kind of long-term participator in the kind of Reclaim the Power camps and things like that. And I'm your host for today. Welcome. So Break Free, as you may well know, is this huge global moment where we escalate action against the fossil fuel industry. This has been in the diary for a while. We knew that kind of coming out of the Paris talks, we needed to have something big to aim towards. And, you know, if politicians weren't going to come up with the things we needed, we were going to need people power to take it on. And so far, there are inspiring actions going on all over the world. We've got Australia, Brazil, Canada, Ecuador, Germany, Indonesia, Nigeria, New Zealand, the Philippines, South Africa, Spain, Turkey, US, and UK. So it's a really, really amazing global kind of lineup of stuff going on. And really the aims of this webinar are to talk about, you know, how in the UK would you get involved, what's going on, as practical details. Obviously, mass actions can be some of the most kind of inspiring, empowering, amazing things we can ever do, but they can also be scary. They can also have risks, and it's important that we're all prepared. And so this is an opportunity to ask people who are involved in organising exactly what's going on. And yeah, although doing this kind of thing over the internet is always a bit weird, we have a very inspiring lineup of speakers who are going to talk you through it. Excuse my phone. And first of all, we'll have Chris and Alison from the United Valleys Action Group, who are the local group who are campaigning against the Welsh coal mine, where the RTP camp will visit. We'll then hear from Connor from Reclaim the Power itself, who are organising the End Coal Now camp in Wales, which is the main focus of the UK mobilisations. We'll then hear from the amazing Liz from Green and Black Cross, who are the legal team who support us all, make sure we're all safe, and do some amazing behind-the-scenes work. We'll then hear from Dan, who went to Ende Gelände last year and can tell us a bit about what went down, what to expect, and why we should go. There'll then be an opportunity to ask any questions you want. Don't worry about adding them in as we go. There's a chat box next to the video on your screen, and my colleague Louise will be checking that chat box and feeding in the questions to us. So there's a person behind that chat box. Please stick your questions in. No question is too small, and yeah, we hope to answer as best we can. We were going to kick off with Chris from UVAG, but he has gone out to pick up the flyers from the nearby village, so is not quite back yet. So we're going to go straight to Connor to hear about Reclaim the Power and what's going on with that action camp. Take it away, Connor. I think you're on mute.
Of course that was going to happen. I was going to put myself on mute. Hi everyone, I'm Connor from Reclaim the Power, and I've been helping organise the camp, which is going to be not this weekend, coming the following weekend, so the 30th of April to the 4th of May, over the bank holiday weekend, near Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales. So what you can, if you haven't been to a camp before, I'll give you like a 2-second introduction of what we actually do, which is we go and find generally a field or a piece of land which is almost always bare, and we go in and set up a small community for 4 days, and that's a self-contained, sustainable community in a way. So we'll generate our own power, we'll cook our own food, we'll compost our own waste, we'll do everything that needs to happen just within this field. And that's kind of has been a long tradition in the climate movement, which has gone back maybe 10 to 15 years now, which is going normally squatting a piece of land, so taking a piece of land for a short amount of time, and then using that as a site to go out and do further protests. And what you can expect this year will be similar to previous years. I wanted to kind of tell you a bit about Reclaim the Power, because that's important, and it's important why you understand why we've gone to Merthyr and not other places, and kind of what we stand for, which we are. Well, I think what sets us apart, or at least makes us different from maybe some more conventional climate campaigns, is we tried to connect the dots between the environmental, social, and economic justice, as opposed to just focusing on the environment. The worst things that happen in the environment in terms of fossil fuel extraction, which is bad for the environment, but is often affecting those. Affecting those in society who haven't always got a say. You can see that in various struggles, and you can see that especially in the UK in the fracking context. And you can say we see it here again in South Wales, where we have a local community who, by and large, don't want a new coal mine in their valley, and they've said so, and their local council has rejected an original proposal to have a new mine at Fosy Fran, which is what they're going to do. Is we want to say there shouldn't be any new coal mines, and especially where the community don't want it to happen. So there's elements of environmental justice and both social justice, and we want people to work in the local area, but we want them to have rewarding jobs which don't contribute to climate change, which we know now that coal is the worst of the fossil fuels. And then so we'll be going to hopefully this beautiful valley in nice weather, and as we do with all our camps, there's a day of action. And how this differs from previous years. In previous years, we've gone out and we've done kind of satellite actions, which have kind of happened often around the country and have focused around an issue. So from fracking to the fossil fuel industry to the media to all these agents who are kind of facilitating climate change, we go out and we kind of reclaim the power by taking direct action on kind of many different sites. This year we're going to go for a mass action, because we're going to be there. We're going to be next to the coal mine, and there's benefits of both. But as Danny said at the start, mass action can be an incredibly inspiring experience, and I would also agree with Danny in saying it can be more frightening. I was on the Ende Gelände action last year in Germany, which was a similar mass action in a coal mine. And I would say it was the most inspiring time of my life, and it was probably the most scared I've been in my life. I don't think Wales will be like that, but I'm not going to make any promises. But our aim for the action is to stop work for that day, which is going to be on the Tuesday the 3rd of May, the day after the bank holiday, and we'll be there all dressed in red with props, making ourselves colourful and peaceful, and drawing a line in that coal mine to say that we need to end coal now, and this is our bodies and this is the banners that we brought, that we're going to stop it, and we're going to stop it for one day, and I hope you can join us on that. I'm going to put up a link to our action consensus, which is what, if you're going to come and you're thinking about coming on the action, is a good thing to read. It sets out why we're doing it, and what we expect of those who come and join us that day, because we're not there. That's as important for us is how we present ourselves alongside shutting down this coal mine. That's the two very important things that we do with all our actions. So I'll put up a link for the action consensus, and you can have a read, and it hopefully gives a flavour of what you might expect on the action. But then just one last thing, but the whole way throughout, from the Saturday, the 30th of April to the 4th of May, the camp will be operating. You can come, you can put up your tent. There's going to be workshops, there's going to be talk, there's going to be entertainment. You know, it's not going to be a music festival, it's not Glastonbury, but there will be entertainment and there'll be workshops and yeah, all sorts. So there's more than just the action, but the action is definitely the focal point of the camp.
And we've had a question in, Connor, about is the camp itself illegal?
The process of taking squatted land it will be what's called a civil offence, which is, so it isn't a criminal offence, but it's not expressly legal, but it's not a criminal offence in being there. Now, in the past when we've done these, quite often we might come to an agreement with the landowner as we're doing it, so that, you know, they're reassured that their land is going to be fine. And the risk to those who are in the camp, you know, it isn't a criminal offence. You're not liable to be arrested just for being in that field. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a great summary of the camp and the action, and a sense of just how inspiring, just how inspiring it's going to be. Thank you very much. And I guess what we'll do is, if we go through all of our speakers and then do most of the questions at the end, just so, but do send them in as we're going along, and then we can dish them out at the end, you know, based on what gets asked the most. So the real good news now is that Chris and Alison from UVAG have joined the party. Is that the case? So they're here now, so Chris and Alison have been campaigning on this issue for absolutely years, and a group of the Reclaim the Power bunch have been down and have been working really closely with them to develop this action camp. A lot of us have just got back, and it would be really good to hear from you guys about, you know, how long this struggle has been going on, and what the struggle against this coal mine is, and what you feel about the Reclaim the Power camp coming to Merthyr Tydfil.
Hi all, my name's Chris and this is Alison, my wife. We're part of the UVAG group, and we've been campaigning, as Danielle said, forever, it seems, in one form or another, against the Pussavan open cast, and now against 2004, and the Nanflesk extension to that. We've been campaigning since 2011. And it's been an intensive campaign, no break whatsoever. We've gone from one thing to another, so it's been our life really for 12 years, probably 12 years now. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes to fight something like this, and whatever needs to be done really. We've got a good group of people all from out of the community, dedicated and fighting, and we've probably done as much as is possible in the UK to fight against open cast. We've used legal means as well as protesting, and we've taken it probably further, I would say, than most groups of miners against open cast, but still we've been still we've been stonewalled for all that we've thrown at it. What can I say? RTP, fantastic. It's always fabulous to see support from outside. You do tend to get inside the mess out to the wider world, and you do feel sometimes you're fighting a very lonely battle. but to see so many people interested in what we're doing and interested enough to come and stand in a field for 3 days and shout against the police. We're surely there to support us, sorry. Yes, the police will be there to support us. No, I'll wrap it on because you'll all have questions and we'll answer all those at the end.
It was a good job he came over for me because I said loads, didn't I?
Your turn now.
Meeting in Newburgh last night, they were very, very good. The fact that RTP was chosen to set up this camp has just given us such a lift. All of a sudden now, this campaign is being brought out into the open. We feel that we can win it, and we feel that we've got support, and we feel that the eyes of the world now are looking at the enemy, what's going on, and that really has given us such a lift.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much, Chris and Alison. It's lovely to hear from you. We've had one question in that I'll just put to you now, which is so would you say, so obviously there was the big vote and the new mine has been voted down kind of officially, but would you say that the local community was unanimously opposed to the mine, or will some people be against the camp and the work that you do?
I would say only those people really that have people working there, family working there, or maybe financial interest in the mine.
Personal interest. You will always find that because they recruit out to the communities and you're always going to have that. And you'll get those who are blinded to the facts of it and won't open their eyes to what the future would bring. But we've spent years door knocking, taking petitions, holding public meetings. I mean, we do it regularly because we're always accused of it's just them. So we make sure that we're constantly reappraising ourselves of what the community feeling is, and the vast majority of the community don't want this. The council has voted unanimously against it. So local opinion is absolutely against this thing. And here we are now appealing to the Welsh Government. We've got to start the fight again and start the argument again. And we just feel as though the system is just trying to ride roughshod over local opinion.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys. That's great. Okay, so we've heard from the inspiring local campaigners on this huge battle that they've been doing. We've heard from Reclaim the Power, who are going to come with an amazing, beautiful, family-friendly action camp, followed by this big day of inspiring action on Tuesday, the 4th of May, the day before the Welsh elections. I might point out it's a key date. So we're all going to go mass trespass in the biggest open cast coal mine in the UK. Obviously, there might be some legal implications to this. So our next speaker is Liz, who is involved in the amazing Green and Black Cross, who are the legal support service for activists, and this is an unbelievable asset that we have in the UK. And so yeah, we've just invited Liz on to talk to you and just be reassured about the legal situation. So Liz, take it away.
Okey-doke. Hello there, folks. So Green and Black Cross Legal have been running for 5 years now, so we've got a fair bit of experience under our belt, a lot of that on camps like Reclaim the Power. And we're going to be having a team of volunteers on site throughout the camp in a beautifully clearly marked tent that you can just rock up and ask them about what's going on. Have I got myself on video? I have, haven't I? That's okay. Cool. So yeah, there will be people available 24/7 for you to ask questions as and when things happen. But we'll also be supporting people before they get there. If people are travelling from London on the coaches, then there'll be a legal observer travelling with you, and they'll be distributing these, which are our bus cards. This is basically your 101 on legal advice. It's got our key messages, and it's also got the contact details for our recommended solicitors. We've already been in contact with the legal team that we hope will be supporting us through the camp. They're very positive about it, and basically there is a possibility that as people arrive into the site, the police will be stopping and searching vehicles. And they do that partly as an intimidatory tactic and partly to get information, but there's no need to be concerned about it because you don't have to give details to the police under any stop and search powers. And if they're waving around various clauses and you're feeling uncertain, then you can always give us a ring on the hotline, which is printed on the bus cards, which and there'll be somebody on the end of that phone that can talk you through what they're doing and how you can challenge them if they're going about the process incorrectly. When you arrive on site, there's going to be a series of trainings so that everybody can feel confident about their rights when dealing with the police. And we'll also be holding a legal observer training. So if anybody gets really enthusiastic about this stuff or wants to be involved in the team supporting people should there be arrests, we'd really, really welcome people getting involved in that on the Sunday. And then when we all break into the mine and have an amazing day, if the police get a little bit excited and arrest a couple of people, then we'll also be providing support during and after that process to make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. I guess maybe just to reflect back very briefly on the question that was asked earlier about whether the camp will be legal. One of the things that's very interesting about this particular area is that while Reclaim the Power won't know, I don't know, others won't know until the last minute where the site will actually be. One of the possibilities is that the site will be on common land, and one of the ridiculous things about this situation is that Miller Argent, the mining company, are about to take away something which belongs to the community and is there as a resource for them to graze their livestock and have big festivals of ecology together if they so wish. And if we were to camp on that land, for example, it would certainly and undoubtedly be legal. And if another site is taken, then basically it's perfectly legal to be on that site until a possession order is taken out. And a possession order can't be taken out over a weekend, especially on a bank holiday weekend. So your presence there will be entirely lawful. It's absolutely fine for you to come and go. The police will try and tell you otherwise, but don't be intimidated. There will be people there to support you throughout that.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, huge big up to the amazing Green and Black Cross team who have been on all the actions that I've ever been on and are the, often the unsung heroes supporting everyone. So thanks very much, and all of your legal questions can be answered, which I know is always reassuring. Okay, cool. So that was the first bit of the kind of Break Free tour in the UK is about getting all of us down to Wales, down to Merthyr Tydfil, and shutting down this open cast coal mine in the UK. And that is unbelievably exciting, and I can't wait to see you all there. What's even more exciting is that for us in Europe, there is then a part 2. And the story in Europe this year is really about coal, and that this is the dirtiest fossil fuel and we have to end it. And so straight off the back of the Reclaim the Power camp in Fran in Wales, a group, hopefully quite a large group of us, will be travelling to the German episode of Break Free, which is the Ende Gelände camp in the huge coal mines there. And the first one of these happened last year, and all year I've been hearing amazing stories about what an incredible action this was. So we've invited Dan to speak to us now about his experience going there last year and what to expect from this year. So Dan, take it away.
Hello. Right. Hi everyone. I'm Dan. Nice to meet you. I'm in London. So hello to everyone who's not. So what is Ende Gelände? Ende Gelände means here and no further in German. It's a broad coalition of activists and campaigners and political people who have been involved in things from anti-nuclear to anti-coal, and at the moment specifically are more oriented towards coal, as Danny was saying just then. They have involvement with like leftist parties in Germany, direct action groups, all kinds of different it's like really non-sectarian coalition of groups. It's cool, and they're oriented deliberately towards climate justice. And they on their leaflet they're against fossil fueled capitalism and its boundless exploitation. So it's quite a big project, but it's an exciting one, and one that I was part of last year. It's more than just periodic direct action as well. They, all the work they do on the ground in Germany is what like couches the mass action in like a context that makes it useful and and exciting and worthwhile. And we couldn't do it without like local resistance existing, obviously, in the same sense as with Fosse Fran. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about my personal experience at the camp last year. So last year the camp was, the Ende Gelände action even was in the Rhineland, which is where Germany produces most of its brown coal, or lignite, which is the dirtiest kind of coal in terms of how much carbon emissions it produces per unit of power. And Germany, I think after China, is the biggest producer of lignite in the world. Because they backed down from nuclear power, and that's the direction they've gone in, which is unfortunate. So we're going to have to stop them. I was there at Klimacamp in the Rhineland, and there's been a steady escalation there. They've had actions every year. So they've been marching. They've blocked train tracks before between the coal mines and the power plants nearby where they burn it. But this year, with the support, with like organizational support from 350 and others, they managed to make it into a much bigger mass direct action in which more than 1,000 people were involved. So just to tell you about the camp a little bit, it was like a really, really amazing community-run environment. Everyone was responsible for maintaining the camp and making sure it was a safe space for everyone, and for cooking and like keeping it clean, and like cleaning the toilets. That was what I was doing. So that could be you. And there's workshops on like art and activism and what we could expect from COP21, talking about the climate games. COP21 was what we call Paris, by the way, in December, which was when the climate summit was. There was comprehensive action training, including like role playing, where some of us would be activists and some of us would be police, which was really valuable because the Germans knew exactly how German police behaved, and we had a really good understanding of what we come up against on the day, which always makes you more calm and like sure of yourself. They produced an action consensus in the same way that RTP for the action in Wales, which you can read. I'll post the links later because otherwise it will slow me down. And then the action itself, there was like roles for everyone from different levels of direct action. So there was 1,000 people involved. So obviously some people were more at the front. And some people didn't take a backseat because everyone tried to get into the mine, but we're in less confrontational positions with respect to the police, and people have formed affinity groups, which were small teams that make you feel comfortable when you do direct action and mean that you have a system of support for dealing with any state repression that you may or may not come up against. And it was one of the most empowering things that I've ever done. It has to be said. It was scary, like Connor said, but all the best things in life might be a bit scary, I think. And I think the fact that we were so well prepared, we'd had like workshops on like legal and direct action and stuff like this, and it was open to as many people as possible. And if anyone wasn't comfortable doing the direct action itself, there was so many support roles that are really vital, and without which the action couldn't take place. Those should not be like de-emphasized. And yeah, because we had like collective support systems, we knew that if we were arrested or anything like that, then we'd be fine. So yeah, and I'm really excited to go again this year, where in this case we're going to be in Lausitz, which is near Berlin, rather than the Rhineland, so the complete other side of Germany, and a bit more of a bus trip, but I'm sure it's going to be good. There's another kind of climate camp there this year called the Climate and Energy Camp from the 9th to the 16th of May. And then Ende Gelände takes place between the 13th and 16th of May, so at the end of the camp. And having found the English translation for the workshop program, you can expect things like the true cost of coal, animal climate action, mini volleyball tournaments, local radical histories and histories of lignite production in Germany, action training, what is clean coal and CCS and should we destroy it, TTIP, theatre, poetry, social experimentation, and like direct action trainings, affinity group matchups, like activist speed dating, we sometimes call it, which we'll also have in Wales, and all kinds of fun, you know, direct action, climate-oriented, anti-coal, you know, meeting other activists from across Europe and beyond. A really, really exciting place to be, I think. Things you have to bring if you do choose to come along is probably going to be a tent, warm clothes, minimal electronics, because there won't be very much in the way of power at the camp. There's a little bit if you need it for your phone and stuff like that, but pens and paper, etc. You know, a warm heart, desire to meet new people and try new things and like live and resist in new and exciting ways, and some euros probably because it doesn't exist entirely outside of capitalism. And I've just got some links which I'm going to send you away, but basically I would check out the Ende Gelände website. I would check out the 350s wrap up from last year with the video and all the photos. And I think if you see all that stuff and you like are able, then you'll definitely want to come. So in terms of actually being able to come, we've got some like transport systems that we're going to be using. One of them is that people are cycling all the way to Germany, which is only 3 weeks if you've got some spare time. I'll post that link in a minute. Also, Reclaim the Power, who are organising the Wales camp, are helping coordinate travel. So that means a few minibuses and also coordinated public travel. So I'll put through the form in a minute. And some people, you can also like drive there if you want, but better to come, you know, in like a sort of more mass setting to save that carbon and don't fly. And yeah, I don't know what else to say really. If anyone has any questions, then fire away. Cheers.
Thanks, Dan. I'm excited all over again. Thank you so much for that great kind of rundown of the camp and what it involves. So now we're going to take some questions, questions from the floor. So we're going to start with the first one, and I'm going to pass this one to Connor. This is from Sean from Cardiff. I'm a total novice when it comes to direct action. I don't have any affiliations and don't know anyone going to plan as such. Are there ways of pairing up groups being organised for individuals and novices like me? What do you say to that, Connor? You've got to unmute.
So I get too excited when I get a question. What my point was, we're all novices at some point in our life, which I think is an important thing to remember in this. No one's born an activist or born knowing how to shut down a coal mine. But if you are new and if you're traveling alone, then we're gonna have action training, and we've actually got a dedicated action tent, which is going to be dedicated towards giving trainings and making groups. And as Dan said, we'll have affinity groups there so that you're not going off on your own, and you've got a buddy to look after you, and you've got a buddy to look after yourself. But if you're there, if you come along on a Saturday and you're there for 2-3 days before the action, you're gonna get to know people, and you're gonna get to know people on the action, and you'll start to form your affinity groups throughout the camp, and you'll also learn all the things that you need to know about, you know, what to expect from possibly from the police, what to expect when you're in the mine, how long you might be in the mine. So yeah, I turned up to my first Reclaim the Power camp on my own, not having been to a protest camp before, and yeah, it's scary, but it's definitely like the most valuable thing I've ever done.
Amazing. Thank you. I would second that. Okay, so my next question that's come in is, are there ways of participating, or what are the ways of participating in Reclaim the Power or Ende Gelände if you can't risk arrest? So I don't know if anyone wants to take this one, or Dan's nodding his head. Dan, you want to take this one?
I was going to say yes, and I have a lot of background to that. It's mainly that I think there's just so many roles that are fundamental to it being pulled off and being effective that aren't arrestable or aren't, going into the mind, like providing like legal support, going and making sure that if anyone does get arrested, that they like have someone waiting for them when they got out of the station, which can be like one of the most important things for keeping people okay, sustaining them, and media. Probably lots of other things that aren't immediately coming to my mind that someone else will probably say, but it's so vital. Yeah, I don't think it should be underestimated at all.
And what about the cooking? Someone's got to do the cooking. Someone's got to do the. Yeah, there are always hundreds of roles for everyone. Everyone's just as valuable as everyone else. Okay, so my next question is back to Reclaim the Power. And how many people do we think will be at the camp in Wales?
I'm just going to add one little thing onto Dan's question, which reminded me from Ende Gelände, which was possibly one of the nicest moments of it, was having been arrested all day, we got taken off to a train station in the middle of nowhere to then get a train to another place in the middle of nowhere. And as we got off and we were 10 miles kind of from the camp, there was someone from the village there who was just there. He was like, I can take you home. And that's all he wanted to do, was just to take us to 10 miles from the train station to the camp. And he didn't go to the camp. He just knew a lot of people had been arrested, and he just turned up with his car at the train station. And yeah, that's the sort of thing you remember. On to how many people were going to attend the camp in Wales. I think we're between, if we're talking about total number of people who visit, I think above 500. I think over the course of 4 days we might have up to 600 people who are kind of through the camp, and then a kind of a core who are there for the 3 or 4 days to around the maybe 300 mark. A lot of we don't say, it's not a ticketed event, so we don't know, but yeah, I think those are like kind of a good contingent of 300 people, but we might have, we could have up to 1,000 people pass through the camp if we have kind of the wider, the local support, and they come down during the day, but they don't camp. So it can vary from kind of night to day, but I think those are fairly sound numbers.
Great, thank you. Chris and Alison, I know the local police have had some comments on how many hippies they think are going to be camping in the field. What have they said to you?
They went.
Thousands of hippies are coming to camp.
They were actually warning the councillors that 1,000 hippies are going to descend on the village. I mean, I can't believe that this is 2016. Here's such rhetoric coming out of the people. It's crazy. I don't know why they're saying things like that. I wouldn't go into that, but when you're speaking to local police, there's no animosity there. They're quite welcoming. They need to see it because they've worked with us through the years, and they know the way we work. We're very professional, we're very temperate, and we just deal with the problems. And we've usually had a good rapport with them. Goodness only knows if they bust police in from outside how they will react, but we didn't have too much trouble in handling them at Climate Camp Cambria.
Just to add to what Connor was saying about the experience in Germany, it'll be exactly the same here. If anybody's in any trouble, there will be people in Merthyr very willing to help out, pick you up from the station, lift food, anything you need. You just let us know and we'll be there.
Across the community, yeah.
That's wonderful. Chris and Alison, I've had a follow-up question for you, which has come in as more of a comment that says, not a question, just a comment. You two are incredibly inspiring, and it's so exciting to have an opportunity to come and support your tireless work.
Say thank you very much to us.
Great. So my next question goes to Liz, as this is a legal question. So people want to know. So this is about the action now. So when we're shutting down the mine. So what is the legal status of the action? What is the likelihood of it being a prosecutable offence? And if so, is it possible to say what the likely sentence would be? So yeah, what do you reckon?
So basically, if we manage to get into the mine and shut it down, then the most likely offence would be aggravated trespass, which is a very minor offence but was created specifically to stop effective direct action. It will be very interesting and I think somewhat unexpected if they do mass arrests on the site. Generally in these situations, the company involved and the police don't want to deal with 50, 80, 100 arrests. It massively increases the profile of what we've done and takes a lot of processing, and they're likely to make mistakes in that processing, which means that those prosecutions won't necessarily be successful. So I think it's worth bearing in mind that aggravated trespass is a possibility if we enter the mine and manage to shut it down, but that's far from a certainty, and that if you are arrested for aggravated trespass, it's a very minor offence. The most likely outcomes are basically a fine, and for people who have previous criminal records, potentially community service. But a fine would be means tested, it would be based on your income, and so it's not a significant risk. It's something that it's worth bearing in mind, and we'll be talking about in more detail on the camp, but that's the sort of thing we'd be looking at. I also see in that question, I was very glad to be prompted because I was embarrassed to have missed it, that if you aren't travelling on the main transport from London, you're travelling from elsewhere and you do still want a bus card, they are available for download from the Green and Black Cross website, and we'll be going with Bindmans as solicitors, and they feature on the London bus card, so you can just download, print that, circle Bindmans, and you're good to go.
Amazing. Thank you, Liz. Okay, cool. So next question is for Dan. So last year's Ende Gelände involved running for hours in a mine. Is it possible to take part if you're not fit?
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna be honest. It was it was really very exhausting. The part that I was in. I should explain a little bit more. There was on the action there was 4 fingers. And that means like groups of people. So each of those groups of people was about 250 people in them. They had like colours. I can't remember what mine was, like orange or something. And then, what can I say? Yeah, they went into the mine in different ways and came up against different levels of like police repression. And some of it was easier, which meant that they could like sort of amble a bit more. It was still quite, I think, physically demanding at times, but to varying levels. So I would say there was a lot of people there who weren't like, I don't think would have called themselves like physically super fit and were okay, because in that situation, if your body can handle it at all, then the adrenaline just comes and then it works. I mean, you might be a little bit bad afterwards, but that's the way it goes, and it's fine. Like no one hurt themselves in a serious way, and or in any way really. In any kind of after the next day. So yeah, maybe go for a couple of runs if you can, but I think we're fine.
Okay, so a little bit of fitness training for all. Good. Doctor said. Connor, did you want to come in on that?
I was just going to say the German police aren't the fittest.
Yeah.
I think they like their, what is it, schnitzel and pretzels. So yeah, you don't have to be too quick.
Great. So we've got some practical ones now about the camp, the Reclaim Power camp. So will there be access to electricity? So will it be lit at night? And will there be anywhere to have a shower? Very important questions.
Well, we are going to have electricity, and it's going to be renewable, of course. So we're going to have our own turbine, and if you've ever been to a camp before, you'll have seen it, and that will provide kind of lighting throughout the camp, so you can see where you're going, and obviously then lighting within the kind of main structures for any evening entertainment or evening meetings or whatever we might need light for. I know last year we had, I don't know if he's coming again this year, but someone turned up with a kitted out converted van which had solar panels on top, and people could just charge their phones. So you can we can access power. I don't think the turbine will be kind of facilitating people's kind of personal phone charging, so you might want to bring your own kind of battery bank if you want to keep your phone updated, or but again, there might be someone on the camp who can help out, who's got if someone's got a charger in their car or something like that. In terms of showers, I'm afraid we won't have power showers on site. But Chris and Alison might be able to link people up with showers in the local community. That's what shower hippie. That's what we have to call it. But no, so we won't have showers. We'll obviously have beautiful composting toilets, and they'll be running water, so you can have a little sink shower. And I don't know if there's a river nearby, but unfortunately, yeah, we don't kind of go all out for showers, I'm afraid.
Okay, but Chris and Alison, how are you feeling about shower and activist scheme in Merthyr?
Yeah, we're going to start a sponsor a hippie thing now in town, and we'll see what we can come up with. If you smell it really, really bad, right, we don't live far away, okay?
Okay, so everyone listening, that's a personal offer to Chris and Alison's house to take a shower. I hope that has answered your question, whatever it was. And so I think we're coming near to the end. I hope to finish in the next few minutes, just so we can get on with evenings and getting excited about the month to come. So there's a final question, which is so this person has asked, so I don't know whether this is an accurate impression, but from watching the Ende Gelände action film, it looks as if the police weren't trying very hard to block the action. I saw no signs of horses or riot gear, etc. Do we expect the police to adopt similar tactics in Wales, or should we expect them to be more heavy-handed? So I don't know who wants to take that one. Chris and Alison, you might have the best sense on this.
From experience, we've seen a variety. They tried it on very heavy-handed with us, and they read the riot act to Alison proper. This was the Silver Commander, and at that point we had mounted police and riot gear. And we had 150 pacifists. So I said, you've got an orderly protest here. We're going to walk them up round the mine, or you can arrest me, kick up a lower fuss, and then you have to arrest 150 people in a very horrible way. And they capitulated and escorted us around the mine. So we've seen them pushing. But then giving way when we push back a bit.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. So, hopeful. Okay, so I think we've nearly come to the end of the questions. We had quite a few questions come in about the kind of arrestability and different roles, but I think we've kind of covered quite a lot of that stuff. Yeah, so are there any kind of final words any of you would like to say before kind of I summarise and we log off?
can I just add something to what we just said, really? It's a bit of a to and fro in with the police, isn't it? But as long as you maintain a rapport with them along the way, they like to flex their muscles, but ultimately we didn't have any trouble.
No.
But the other thing was we had legal observers, exactly as is planned here, and video. So they don't really want to be spread all over YouTube and Reuters breaking up, peaceful protests, to be honest with you. I can't see any contact. They will come all in the game. They'll just flex and then
Cool. Good to know. Connor, you had a point?
This is obviously not to kind of try and predict future behaviours, but in the last two Reclaim the Power camps, I would say that the relationship between the camp and the local police has been civil and without kind of confrontation or aggression. And that's been both at the camp and on almost all the actions. Now, there has been, people have been arrested in the last 2 years, but by and large, things have not either turned violent or aggressive or kind of nasty. So we're kind of hoping for the same this year, but yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Oh yes. Okay. Sorry, I just got a message from our logistics team. So I'm gonna close it there. I would like to thank everyone who's taken part, all of the speakers, especially for sharing their wisdom. I think what I've taken home from all of this, and I guess is that this is a very inspiring moment. We have actions all over the world. We have inspiring communities that are fighting, and we are fighting with them. We have 2 big actions in Europe. This is a moment where lots of new people will be getting involved in actions for the first time. No one will be alone. Also roles for people who don't want to or can't get arrested. There are roles for everyone, and each of these actions comes with an action camp with trainings and workshops, ways to meet people and get involved, and all of the practical information about how to get there and what to expect is on the websites. So thank you so much for coming. This is a really amazing moment, and I do look forward to seeing all of you in those coal mines. Okay, and the final thing to say is, if you're coming to Ende Gelände, please let us know at germany.breakfree2016.org, and that's in the chat link, so that we can group people together and everyone knows who's coming. Okay, and that really is it. So thanks everyone, and have a lovely evening, and we'll speak to you soon.